I hope everyone is staying safe. We are Summer, Heather, and Jocelyn, and we are the Quarantine Cuties. Our presentation is going to be all about integers, so let's go ahead and get started. To truly understand integers, we first need to know exactly what they are. Integers may sound complex, but we work with them all the time. An integer is a number that has no fractional part and no digits after the decimal point. Integers include counting numbers such as 1, 2, 3, 0, and negative counting numbers such as -1, -2, -3, and so on. The picture to your right showcases a visual representation of integers on the number line. As you can see, to the right of 0, those are positive integers, and to the left of 0, those are negative integers. We can present integers in a number of ways. The most common being used is the number line and the two color counters. The number line is good to see a visual representation of how far away a number is from 0, or a number they are adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing by. It gives the student a chance to physically take their pencil or finger and jump for the problem given. Another great way to present integers is using two color counters. After our group conducted research, we have found that this is the most common manipulative to use when first learning about integers. Two color counters give students the ability to try out problems visually. With the red color being negative and the yellow color positive, a child will be able to see when they are doing their equation that whatever is left over that isn't a zero pair will be the answer, and depending on the color left over, it establishes if the answer is positive or negative. And a zero pair is represented by this picture here on the left, when the colors will cancel each other out. Now that we know what an integer is, we can now talk about when we use them. Integers are all around us. We use integers when it comes to temperatures because the numbers can go above, below, or at exactly 0. With money, a bank account can have money, no money, or in some cases be negative, which means there is a debt. Lastly, golf is something that a lot of people wouldn't think uses integers, but it does. In this case, having a negative score is good, and a positive score can be bad in regards to that golf game. So we know what integers are and how they are used around us, but why do we learn about them? Well, learning integers is important because it is the basis for mathematics. We proved this in our last slide regarding just a few examples out of many that use integers. In order to learn new concepts, we need to know what an integer is. We actually learn this without knowing it when we learn to count. With time, we start to progress to learn negative integers, which can be more complex. So with that being said, learning integers is vital because we are constantly using them and building our knowledge as we learn new concepts. The two examples above are student work that we have found. On your right, we have a representation of a number line with creative drawings that relate to their problem regarding scuba diving. They labeled their work and were able to figure out the answer. On the left, we have a student doing a similar problem, but this time about temperature. When we give students problems that allow them to get creative, then they will give us great representations of how they interpret them. The only thing missing from these students' work that we felt was missing is a sentence that explains the answer and how they achieved it. Pictures are awesome, but we want to make sure that our kids understand how they solved the problem. Now these are the same problems, but with different students. These students did a more literal approach to these problems, meaning they did the problem with only having the answer in mind, rather than being super creative. They both still showed their work and wrote out a description about how they were able to get the answer to the problem. However, these students actually wrote out a sentence detailing their thought process of this problem. When teaching integers, you want to keep in mind that most students don't know you can go below 0. You can use manipulatives of two different colors to create zero pairs and find the difference between a negative and positive number. Remember to teach the student the negative symbol has a different meaning from the subtraction symbol when it is in front of a number alone. As they get more advanced in learning, our picture above comes into play, teaching them that two negatives can make a positive. One positive and one negative can be a negative if the negative integer is greater, or positive if the positive integer is greater. and 2 positives will be positive. Hopefully, after our presentation, you have learned a few things that will be useful for you as a future teacher, because integers are the basis for mathematics. Thank you so much.